Again, welcome back to CS 102 Java Programming Language. This is Chapter 5, Part 2 of our lectures. And in the previous Chapter 5, Part 1, we covered the if and also if-else selection statement. In these lectures, we're going to cover the switch statements. So again, a switch statement provides another way to decide which statement to execute. Normally, we use the switch statement if we have more than two conditions. Always, if we have two conditions, we should use the two-way selection statement, which is if and else. So a switch statement evaluates an expression, then attempt to match the result to one of the several possible cases. Now, each case contains a value and a list of statements, and we shall see a syntax soon. So again, in Java, the keyword switch, which is all the cases are lower cases. It's a keyword in Java. So we have our switch, then we have our expression. Now, if the expression evaluated to value 1, then the statement list 1 will execute. If the expression is evaluated to value 2, then statement list 2 executes. Normally, we are going to end it with a break statement so that if value 1 is true and the statement list 1 executes, we don't want case 2, 3, etc. to be tested. So we're normally going to end it with a break statement. And we shall see examples soon. The whole concept here is that we should know switch, all the cases are lowercase, and also the case, all the cases are lowercase. It's a reserved word or keyword in Java programming. So we start with the keyword switch. We have our expression. Then if the expression is true, evaluated to value 1, we have a statement that will execute. If it's value 2, we have another statement. And as we said earlier, so we need to have a break. So if I have a break and value 1 is true, case value 2 will not be tested. Now, if we don't have no break, then all the cases will be tested. So often again, a break statement is used at the last statement in each case statement list. Again, the main reason so that if one case is true, the rest of the case will not be tested. So a break statement will cause control to transfer to the end of the switch statement. Also, if a break statement is not used, then the flow of control will continue into the next case, as we said. So we come back here. We don't have no break here. So if value 1 is true, statement list 1 will execute. Then we have to check value 2 case also. If it's true, then statement list 2 also will be executed. So we always again use the break statement. So we have an example here. This is how it's supposed to be. We have our switch again, keyword. Option will be our expression that we want to execute. Let's say here we are checking for a grade or a score. If the score is 90, then case A will execute. Then we break. So in this case, we don't need to check for case B and case C. Again, we have the break statement. So a switch statement can have an optional default case, which we always have. So here, for example, if case A is false, case B is false, case C is false, then nothing will execute. So normally at the end, we have a default case, which means if all the cases are false, the last one will execute. And we shall see how that looks like in our next example here. So here we are going to use the switch statement to write a program here. In this program, we are going to report a grade. So the program name is grade report.java. And we are going to demonstrate the use of a switch statement. So again, we import our scanner class because we are going to ask the user to use the keyboard to enter an input. Our main class name is grade report, which means our file name also is grade report.java. So first thing we do here, we have our main method. we declare our variables that we need. So we need a grade variable and also category. We create our scanner object. The name of the scanner object is scan. System.in means we are going to use the keyboard to get our inputs. Next, we ask the user to enter a numeric grade. The grade have to be from 0 to 100. So we use the scan.nestInt for the user to enter the grade into a variable named grade. Then we have grade divided by 10 will give us the category value. So again, you can see that the grade is int. So if user enter 98, 98 divided by 10 will give us 9. If user enter 52, 52 divided by 10 will give us 5. So those category. So here we have system.out.print. The grade is, now we are going to use the switch statement. So our category now, it depends. So for example, if the user enter 100, 100 divided by 10, the category will be 10. So if the category is 10, then we're going to print system.out.println a perfect score, well done. If the category is 9, which means user enter, let's say between 9 to 99. 99 means, again, one more time, our variable data type is int. So 98 divided by 10, the answer will be 9. We can't get the decimal. And that's our main goal. One thing with the switch statement is that we cannot have, it's not nice to have interval values. For example, instead of using switch for this, I may rather use maybe if else nested multiple if else. Let's say if the grade is between 90 to 100, then we have A. So I may use the if with a logical again operator to do it. But again, it's up to us here. Or just say if the grade is greater than 90, then we get A. Else, if the grade is greater than 80, then we get B. So you can see we are using greater, so there's interval values. Switch statement, we have to have exact values. That's why we are using the category variable. We can't use the grade variable because if I put the, if we use the grade, now we can say, okay, if the grade is 90, A, if the grade is 89, B minus 88. So we are going to have so many grade values. So the category variable is happiness. If it's between 90 to 99, then the case will be 9. If it's between 80 to 89, the case will be 8. So we print nice job, etc. Now, if the user enter value that is less than 60, then we are going to have a default value. This is the default section, which will be printing always. So we have our case 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 6, we say below average, which means you get between 60 to 69 in the score. Other than that, you fail. You didn't pass the test. So user enter 91. 91 should give us case 9. So the output will be, and the grade is well above average, excellent. Next, we have what we call the conditional operators. It's the same as two ways. So we may have the condition, then we have a question mark. Expression 1 will be if the condition is true, expression 1 will execute. If the condition is false, expression 2 will execute. And normally the syntax is the condition with a question mark, expression 1 with a colon, expression 2. So here we say if the condition is true, expression 1 is evaluated. If the condition is false, expression 2 is valid. It's the same as using the if else, but sometimes we may use this because it's a very short one line. And also this is a very good example for it. So here we say, okay, if num1 is greater than num2, then we print num1. Else is num2 is greater. If the condition is false, then num2 is greater. And you can see this is the reason why, see here, this condition, when we test finish, our result, we want to assign it to a variable. So in this case, it's more comfortable to use the conditional operator. Now, if I want to print the output, maybe I'll use the if-else. You can see that in if-else, the result we get is difficult to assign it to a variable, but this is more easy and comfortable, more readable too. So we say if num1 is greater than num2, then we assign num1 to the variable name larger. If the condition is false, we assign num2 to the variable name larger. Now, previous lectures we covered the if-else. It's very difficult to write, or it doesn't even look more perfect readable. So this is again another example, system.out.println. Your change is whatever the count value is. Now, if your count is equal to 1, then we want to print dime. So for example, your change is 1 dime, or your change is 20 dimes. So again, you can see how this is more better to write or to use than to use the if-else condition inside the system.out.println. This is a very good example using the conditional operator. If I have a condition and I have to assign the value to a variable, it's better to use conditional operator than to use if-else. The same thing, I have a condition inside my system.out.println. It's not good to use if-else because it's more than one line. Then it's good to use conditional operator. But conditional operator, everything is in one line. Here we say if the change is, if it's 10, that means 10 is not equal to 1. So dimes will print. If it's only 1, then dime will print. So this is another quick check. Here we say if var is less than or equal to 10, we print it is not greater than 10. Else we say it's greater than 10. We can also use the logical operator, the conditional operator. We say var is less than or equal to 10 question mark. We put the keyword not. Then we have the column. Column means greater than 10. Because if it's false, that means it's greater than 10. True means it's less than 10 or it's not. Next, we talk about ArrayList. Again, ArrayList class, we are going to get more detail on it somewhere around chapter 8 or 9 of our course textbook. Now, just to have the idea what is ArrayList. So ArrayList, again, is an object. ArrayList object stores a list of objects. As we all know, array normally stores a list of items. But here we are using the concept of object-oriented programming. And ArrayList is a built-in. So we say ArrayList class is part of java.util. So ArrayList is like a built-in class in Java utility package. So it comes with some method that we can use to manipulate our array items in our ArrayList. Also, it still use the index. Index will be the location of each item in the ArrayList. So the ArrayList can shrink or it can get bigger. So example here, the first item in the ArrayList is bashful, so the index is 0. The second item is sleeping, the index is 1. Happy, the index is 2, etc. An element can be inserted or removed from the ArrayList using a special methods that comes with the class. So example here, some ArrayList methods we have had make it possible, again, hard item. And here the type is E and also Boolean return. The next we have hard is going to add an item in an index position, E in an index position. And this method doesn't expect no returning value, so it's void. Remove, when we remove the object type, the ArrayList, whatever object type it is, it will return. Or we also get an item. To get an item is we have to specify the index. For example, if the index is 0, then we get the first item. If index is 1, we get the second item. We also have is empty. We can use is empty to check if a ArrayList is empty or not. Then also they give us the method size. We can check how many items in the ArrayList. So again, ArrayList is a class and it comes with a special method that we can use to manipulate it. We will talk about this more detail in the future lectures. So let's see how it's used. So this is how we declare ArrayList. We have the key ArrayList. The type is string, and the name is called names. And of course, ArrayList also have its own constructor. It's a class. So ArrayList and the type. Also, we can have ArrayList. The type is book. And the list equal to new ArrayList book. This means we have to have the book type already. A book type means we have to create that type. Maybe it can be a class type. And also we say ArrayList object and not store primitive types. So here we are talking about string. It's an object names. The list also is an object. The type book is a class. So let's see an example here called the Beatles.java. So here we are going to demonstrate the use of an ArrayList object. We import our utility package, ArrayList. As we said, ArrayList is a class that comes with the Java utility package. So anytime we want to use the ArrayList, we have to import the utility package. So we have our main method, and we create our ArrayList. The name is band, the type is string. So now we use the method add to add Paul, Peter, John, and George. So remember, band is like the object. So band.add Paul, band.add Peter. So Paul, Peter, John, George is like having the actual content. But again, this is the object band. Next, we say system.out.println. We want to print the band. So it again print the items. And also next, we declare variable name location. And we want to know the location of Peter. So we use the method index of Peter, and it will return the index for us, which will be the location. Also, we can remove. So here we have band.remove location. So if we have Peter, let's say Peter is in location 0, and now we say remove 0, that means it's going to remove Peter from the list. Next, we print the band, and when we print this down, Peter will not be in. Next, also we say at index 1, which is we want to know the item and the second item. So we say band.get1. This will return the second item in the release. And here what we are doing is that we are adding to Rigo. And then we use the while loop. Again, we check if the index is less than band size, then we're going to print each item. So we get index print. So let's see our output here. You can see the first, we create the 4, Paul, Peter, John, and George. Then our method here, we remove Peter. So you can see that when we print it, Peter is no more there. And also at index 1 will be the second item. So now since Peter is not here, the second item will be John. Now, next we print the size, we call the size method. Let's look back. We call the size method somewhere size, while in the size, and it will actually it will print out the size band.size. Then next we get all the index, all the items. The while loop print all the items. So the size is 4. The while loop print each as the same as using array. So you can see that here you say why the index is less than band.size. If the item is 4, the size will be 3. But it will go up to 3, sorry. So it will be why the index is less than, we start from 0. So 0 is less than 4. Then we print Paul, John. When we reach George, it will be 3. Is 3 less than 4? Yes. So now when we go to because every round we are incrementing the index here. Now when we reach 4, is 4 less than 4? No, then we stop. So again, this is just a some example about ArrayList, but we will go more detail on these items in our future chapters. So that will be the conclusion of this, and hopefully to see everyone in class. Thank you.